It's an early morning, and I'm very pleased to have so many of you here. I personally got a wake up at about 6:30. I got about 5 hours of sleep. I don't know how much you have had, but I was very, very weary when I woke up. I had the Yle radio reporter here asking about the World Cyber Games. And next off, she went to report on a cat show. So that's how important we are, so next to a cat show. So consider yourself dogs because of that. Anyway, welcome to the FlatOut behind the scenes seminar presentation. As Tapio mentioned, my name is Jussi Laakkonen, and here at the Assembly, I work as one of the two main organizers. And for my daytime job, which brings the bread to the table and some sausage on top of that, I work as the business development director for a company called Bugbear Entertainment. Before we get to FlatOut, let me tell you a little bit about what Bugbear Entertainment is and what it has done. Bugbear, in a nutshell, is a Finnish independent game studio. The company was founded a little bit over, and we currently employ 40 persons. We're working on the PlayStation 2, Xbox, PC Engage, and probably soon PSP platforms. The titles we have released are FlatOut, which we are be talking about today. Glimradi just came out for Engage, has been enjoying rave reviews. Red Trophy was our first game, released in 2001, was for PC only, and went on to sell about 250,000 copies and got a lot of great reviews. Tough Trucks was released in the United States in 2003, and we're currently working on a title called FlatOut 2, which is a sequel for FlatOut, which we are talking about today. We are known for being quite an innovative games developer. We are also known for our technology. FlatOut is renowned for being one of the most technology-oriented and leading games in the PlayStation 2, especially on the physics side, and especially in the racing genre, which we are focusing on. And by focusing into this driving genre, we are able to achieve world-class quality, which is a necessary thing for you to be successful. As the next presentation, which will be by the guys from Frozen Byte, will tell you, it's very hard to break in this business, so we have decided to focus on driving to be successful. But let's get to FlatOut. How many of you have played FlatOut? Would you please raise your hand? Quite a few of you. Okay, how many of you have developed FlatOut? Okay, those 3 guys over there, and they are not want to take any responsibility, but we have our lead artist and 2 other artists here today also. They're probably coming here to check what kind of lies I'm telling, but let's see. If they start to laugh, then you know it's probably not true. Anyway, let's get to FlatOut. So, we started out with an idea. Wouldn't it be cool to race really fast and crash into a lot of stuff? Basically a destruction derby. And we had a very good inspiration for this, because in Finland we have the thing called jokamiesluokka. How many of you are non-Finnish? Would you please raise your hand? All right. I'll show you what the jokamiesluokka is. Basically, the idea is that anybody can go race. You don't have to pay for an expensive car. You just buy a cheap car for 2,000 euros and you go race. And everybody races in the same types of cars. And at the end of the season, all the cars are sold. So it's all about the driver's skill and not about the vehicle that much. So it's for every man, the Joe average. But let me show you what the inspiration was. Go around the track and try to make the best of it. Now, that was the inspiration. What did you notice in there? What's spectacular is that in this race class, you have a number of cars on the track at the same time. So they have a lot of contact, metal pushing against metal. That was one of the key ideas in FlatOut. You have to have banger racing. You have to do this and push the other guy off and get a lot of action in there. We also wanted to have multiple cars on the track so that you feel the speed. You really feel that you're competing against somebody. Now, we started from an idea, but an idea is worth nothing. Do you know, can anybody of you tell me what the idea of Doom is? Anybody? What's shooting? Yeah. You go to Mars, you blow stuff up. It's worth nothing. You know, everybody can talk about this kind of ideas. These ideas, it's good to have an idea, but that is nothing yet. Except if you do Sims, which is a great idea. But Doom is just about shooting. That's really not that spectacular. It's all about the execution. It's all about the game design. So our game design is sort of encompassed in this picture. Multiple cars, a lot of action, stuff flying out, really, really spectacular looking graphics, and you just going all out on the track. You're going flat out. Now, basically these kind of pictures, this is a little bit later on the games development process, but these conceptual images is what you make to try to make the team understand and the publisher to understand what the game will be. Because in the beginning, the game doesn't look like anything that's going to be 2 years in the future. When you plan the game, you have to communicate, you have to plan a lot. You have to get the idea through, and you have to design the game. You have to design every single bit of it. And that's where we went next. So we had the idea for the game in November, roughly in 2002. That's when we went into a concept phase, designing the game, what this game would be about. And it's very hard in this business to get a deal. If you have a piece of paper saying that this will be the greatest game ever, you will go very fast and you will crash a lot of cars and you will look great, and you go to a publisher and say, would you please give me a couple of million euros and I'll go and make a great game for you, they'll laugh you out. It's very hard to get a deal, so you need a playable version for them to demonstrate, get the feeling what the game will be about. Luckily, we had a lot of technology in-house already. We had developed one game previously, and based on that, we could build a playable PC prototype of the game. Then we started selling it. So we had a playable prototype, which I'm going to show you later. Actually, I can show you after this slide. And we decided that, okay, it's time to go sell. Everybody was like, we sent it to about 30 publishers, and everybody's, yeah, this is very interesting. Yeah, nice. Great going, boys. It's going to be great. But no money. None. Zero, no. But there were a couple of publishers said, you know, this would be good if it would be on the consoles. But that was a polite way of saying, go, buzz off, you know, we don't need you. Because it's very hard to make a console game. It's really, really much tougher to doing a PC game. Not just technology, but also about getting your tools, getting the license to do console games. Nobody can. You need a license to do PS2 games. And it's very hard to get that license. But we managed, and we made a playable PS2 version, a little bit using a little bit underground methods, which I cannot really describe here, but it wasn't all in the license stuff, so we had to a little bit hack our way through. And we were talking to a publisher called Empire Interactive, which also told us, you know, buzz off. But 2 months later, we told them that we're going to come back with a PS2 version. And they were like, yeah. 2 months later, we shipped them the PS2 version, which was really an amazing feat to go from PC to PS2 with the same gameplay in 2 months. And they were like, shit, this isn't happening. They're like looking at the disc and seeing whether it's an animation or a video file or what it is. And basically, once they saw that, then it's a done deal. Then we just negotiated the best deal in this business. You need two things. Either a ready PC game, or you need a console prototype. That's the only ways you're going to get a good deal, basically. I think Joel there will probably echo this feeling in his presentation. But let's look at the playable PC, what we had in 2003. This is actually a little bit older version. This is actually from August 2002 or something like that. This is really, really old. But this is very close to what the game was back then. And those of you, I don't know, this is, sorry, wrong resolution. Sorry about that, it's just in the wrong resolution. I'll just kill it. No, I won't. Oops. Yes, I will. Bye-bye. Yeah, and this is, as I said, this is very early version, so... Oh, it should fit. Oh well, let's run in that mode. It's a very early version, and it's basically made for the purpose of showing the publishers in this business on what we are going to do. And once you see it, you can understand the basics where you start from. It's very early on. Alright, here we go. Doesn't this look cool? You know, very nice. Here we go. And you can see the car is actually on top of the road. It's not on the road, it's top of the road. What this demonstrates shows you that the car can drive around in the environment. Some of the handling physics shows you a little bit of the environment, driving distance. It will also show you the damage model. Let's hit something. Yeah, here we go. So we can see that the car can deform. So, but this is the environments, the tires coming off, all this is in the game. This is kind of images you do in the game's development process to get the feeling of the final game. Now, if you look a little bit how the concept has evolved, how the design has evolved, in the beginning, it was really about racing and crashing. So where did the ragdoll come into the business? Where did the guy who flies out the windshield, where did he come from? Well, he came from in the stage that we were talking to the publishers that, you know, we have a great game. And typically in that stage, they're like, yeah, that's great, but could you do this? Or could you do that? So one of these publishers that we were talking to asked, like, hey, could you have the guy get out of the car and walk around? The driver, that is. So I said, sure, yeah, sure, we can do it, because we were very hungry to get a deal. We made it, and my God, then somebody decided, hey, let's do something funky with this guy, so let's try just flying him out of the car. And that's just stuck. It was like the most hilarious moment ever. The first time the ragdoll driver flew out, it was like, and I would say it was a lot of laughter afterwards. It's really those just things that just happened. It wasn't designed in, it wasn't planned that, yeah, we're going to have a ragdoll driver. It wasn't in the original game when we were pitching it. It's just spectacular moments that, oh shit, if that wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't be selling as much as we did. It's just, you know, good luck, basically. At least they are not laughing, so I think I got it right. But we went from having a really sort of a more racing kind of game, more simulator-oriented game. We went much more into the arcade and fun direction, which I think is the right direction, because the simulator market is very, very hardcore and it's very limited. So we went more to the arcade direction. We worked over and over and over and over and over and over again. You get the idea. Until we came up with basically what FlatOut became, and that still changed in the process. So that wasn't managed all that well. So a lot of changes were done. But an important thing still when you make a game is to understand what your game is about. We talked about Doom. So Doom is about shooting. It's about scary stuff. You have to focus on that. Scary stuff and shooting. If you don't focus on that, that game is about nothing. In FlatOut, we focus on racing, destruction, and physics. 3 things. We wanted to really get the feeling that you're going fast and you're racing against somebody else. We wanted to get the feeling that you're really crashing a lot of stuff. And we wanted to be the leader in physics. This is the formula that made the game great. You focused on something that you know you can do really well. And yeah, game design can be fun. Here's a design of how the ragdoll driver will work. Probably courtesy of Hannu, our lead track artist. He has a tendency to draw funny pictures. And this is how some of the game design was done. You know, you should always hit your head first on the trunk of the tree. Let's look at a video we made when we were actually selling FlatOut. So I'm going to show you what we actually sent to the publishers when we were pitching the game.
She's got all the
Very nice deformation on the car, as you can see. A lot of spikes coming up from the car when it crashes. Sir, there's room here. If you want to come over, you can sit down. So that was what the game was roughly 12 months before it's finished. So a lot has changed after that. And you didn't see any ragdolls there, did you? So it came in actually quite late. That came in. Now, altogether, if you look at FlatOut, how long was that then? It was over a year from the point of getting a deal, but it was almost a year before we got the deal. And it was 2 years before that while we were making the previous game and the technology. So basically, as it's based on what we did previously, it's a culmination of a huge amount of work. And we got paid for only a year of that. So it's tough. It's a very tough business. On average, on FlatOut, we had about 20 people. In the beginning, a lot less. I think about 13, 14. And it grew. Of these, about 5 persons were programmers. 2-3 persons were designers and managers. And the rest were graphicians. So the games typically require a lot of graphics. Or then again, the graphicians are very slow and lazy. And now they're laughing. Good. Last summer sucked like nothing has ever sucked before. It sucked like an electric sucking machine, like that. Because we were late. We were badly late. The publisher was calling like, when is this going to be finished? And we're like, ah. As you remember last summer, luckily there was a lot of rain in Finland. So it didn't feel too bad. But I remember somebody talking to me and saying like, yeah, I had this friends in Suomenlinna, which is a very nice place nearby for picnics, in a very nice day, I think Saturday, calling and saying, meillä on täällä avattu kaljakori, tuutko messiin? So thank you very many. And that's basically, we had a beer case, and do you want to join us for a couple? And we're like, yeah, thanks for calling. It really, I must say, the last summer was hell for us. It was a really hard crunch. It was 6-day weeks, 10 hours per day. And it's all because of the dedication of the people who work in the project that the game pulled through. It was really, really hard. And we have made a lot of steps to avoid that happening again. So this time we are a little bit on a saner schedule. Finally, things started to fall into place. In came in the alpha in July, so we got a nice alpha version done. Beta in August. We did 2 certification rounds. Basically, what that means, we sent the game in to Microsoft and Sony. They come back and say, like, here's this much A4's worth of bugs. And I'll be like, thank you. We go back, we fix it, we send it over there, and then they come back and say, okay, there's only this many bugs left. Would you please fix them too? Now, in this stage, this is the most crucial stage, because if they say no, you cannot sell the game. You cannot manufacture it. And you're like, yeah, we spent a year and a half, and the publisher spent a lot of money, but if they say no, they say no. You know, it's a war story. Sotatarina suomeksi. So, in about, I think it was August, we were in a very hectic phase, and one of the most crucial parts of the game was the Xbox Live support. How many of you know what Xbox Live is? Quite a few. Well, for those of you who don't, it's the online multiplayer support for Xbox. So you can play against other people around the world over the internet. So we have one guy programming only that, and he is the expert on that, and nobody else really knows what goes into that. So what happens is that one day, me and our managing director are sitting now closely on the room and say, yeah, we have a week left before we resubmit. And the live it's a problematic, but, you know, Fred will fix it. Fred's the guy who made it. Okay, there we are in the room, and like, yeah, it's Monday, 9 o'clock, and Fred comes in, and he's like a little bit disturbed, and he's like, he's clutching a paper, and he's like, I have a problem. And we're like, okay. And the hope starts to tell us, you know, there's something I forgot about. You know, I have a military exercise coming up. Kertausharjoitus in Finnish. Yeah, we're like, okay, fine. You know, we can get a postponement. You can get a delay to that. It's like, yeah, but I forgot about it. It starts tomorrow at 9 in the morning. Like, And like, we are totally flabbergasted, like, yes. And of course, next morning, the publisher is coming over. I'm like, yeah, right, very nice. Actually, they were coming in the same day. Sorry, I forgot. They come in the same day. And we are like, no, this ain't happening. Like, it's 20 people for a year and a half working on a project, and it's going to fail because one guy forgot to postpone his military exercise. All right, in comes the telephone, you know. Let's call the president. Let's call whoever. We have to get this guy out. First we tell him, you know, it's your choice. You can stay in, but the military police might come and get you. You know, that never happens, but, you know, he's like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get any police on me. And then we're like, oh, shit. I had some friends who know some friends. So I called the guy who knows a couple of generals. And he asked them, like, could you do something about this? You know, it's very important. And they're like, sorry, I'm not running the exercise, so I cannot step on toes, and I cannot do anything about that. And we are calling our attorney, our legal counsel, like, is there anything we can do? You know, what's going on? And we're like, oh, you know, nothing is helping. It's like we're desperate. Well, next morning, he decides that he has to go because it's by law. You have to go if you're summoned and you don't get a delay. So he goes in, and we are like, you know, last-ditch effort. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, and he's already in there, and I'm like, shit, we got to try this. And we have this number from Major Edlund, who's running the exercise. And I call him up in his office. He's a very busy man, obviously, has a few dozen people in the exercise. And I start telling him, like, how important this is, and he's like, yeah, and, you know, like, I don't stop. I just tell him, you know, we're going to go bankrupt. We're gonna fire people. It's going to go all to hell, and we have to pay millions of dollars. And it's like, no, I don't believe you. You know, this is how the games business works. And I start explaining him everything about advances, and it's like, he's like, I can hear him, like, scratching, and, you know, I have better things to do. I have so many things to do. Like, he's like, I'm just talking, and he says, you can tell Fred to go home. And like, I was like, huh? Oh, thank you very much. Then I call Fred up, who's actually just picking up his rifle. He's there picking up his rifle, and I call him like, no, you can come in. I was like, oh, great. This is the amount of babysitting you have to do in a game development company. So if I can tell you any advice on the behalf of a person who is a manager, never forget your military exercise. Always tell in advance. That was a war story, and that's all true. It happened, and it was very scary, because it would have been really, really a major problem for us. I can really not overstate it. It might have pushed the game to next year, really, because of one man forgot close, really, that close. So it was bad, it was really bad, but we managed, and it makes a good story, it makes for good laughs, but we were not amused, not at all. And I must say, our publishers, they were like shitting their pants, because they had this much money riding on the game. They had booked all the advertising, everything was paid for. So they would have lost huge amounts of money if it would have passed to next year. All right, everything went well, yeah, cool. And Major Edlund is actually credited in the game. So thank you, Major Edlund. It's in the credits, you can check it. All right, so Fred came back, we finished Xbox Live. And there's a good story also about how close this came. The date was the 5th of November. Yeah, and it takes a little while to manufacture these boxes, because it doesn't happen like this. You have to make the boxes, and it was very tight. Our certification came through just in the last moment. And now Empire's managing director had to call the Microsoft Xbox division's finance vice president 5 o'clock in the morning US time to wake him up to sign a fax that, okay, you can manufacture it. You know, he called really, if he wouldn't have got that signature, the game would have been delayed also. So it was really, really close. It's like a matter of a couple of hours that we made the date. You don't want to do that. You never want to do anything like that. So this is a story of bad scheduling, really bad scheduling. And I think we learned our lessons in here, good stories. And here's what we made. We made a PC version, a PlayStation 2 version, and an Xbox version. How important is this? This is the first ever PlayStation 2 game developed in Finland. It's the first ever multi-platform game developed in Finland for these platforms. There has been an Xbox game from Finland. There has been Max Payne on PlayStation 2, but it hasn't been developed in Finland. So it's a milestone for Finnish development. It's a huge milestone for us. We went from being a no-name, basically one-game PC-only simulator hardcore racing company into being quite successful, quite well-reviewed console developer. That's a step like basically, let's take a comparison somewhere. Basically, it would be like you previously played in Veikkausliiga in Finland, you would move to play in Champions League. In the lower division of the Champions Leagues, but still, you made to the world class. This is the kind of step that if you can't do this, if you get to the consoles, you ship the game and you sell lots of units, hey, that is the best thing you can ever do in a games development company. It's very, very hard to achieve. Now, that was a release. I think what we'll do now is I will look at the final result, the trailer. We can look also at the final game, what it looks like. We have about 15 minutes. We can also look, I think we have enough time to look in one interim version also. So what I'll do, I'll show you the interim version. I'll show you then the trailer, and then we'll play the game a little bit. And then we'll have about 5 minutes for questions and answers. If that's okay with you. Or if you have a lot of questions, we can also skip one of these. How many of you have questions? Raise your hand. One, okay. So we're going to look at videos. So, okay, first I'll show you a version from March 2004. As you can see, these menus are very nice. Excellent, almost. And the game is actually called FlatOut in one stage. Here we go. This already looks very much like the final game, but it took almost 9 months from this stage to have it on the shop shelf. And you can see the driver is a little bit different at this stage. Okay, where's the reset button there? Hey, where's the camera? This ain't funny. Okay, let's go. You see, nitro! You see, it would actually have nitro, but it doesn't have nitro. Okay, I'm a bad driver. Let's restart because... Again, here we go. Okay. Again. Well, you can see the physics in play here. You can see this is actually one of the world's first racing games to have physics like this, and you can really see on the tires. There goes the driver again. You know, the thing about me is that I'm the worst driver at Bugbear. So if I can play the game, it's typically easy enough. And I'm really bad at demonstrating the game, but the good thing is I crash a lot, and because FlatOut is a crashing game, everybody likes it. But if I would be driving against these guys, I typically lose always, so... Or they have a lot of cheats. Yeah, it's a bad version, yeah, you know. Anyway. Let me show you the trailer. So, there are a couple of trailers, but I'll show you the PS2 PlayStation 2 trailer, because that's the one we are mostly proud of, because the PlayStation 2 is the key platform. So here we go. Oh, that one! That's a crazy game, you know, it's called wow! It's like all over the place. That's the kind of things that people remember about the game. You have to have something that they like will recognize like this with the game. And if it's something that you can display visually, and also can easily convey by speaking, it's an excellent way of making people remember the game. You should always have something like that in there. So let's just look at what I actually meant. So the high jump. We have 6 sports modes in here. We have high jump, long jump, clown's face, bullseye shot, bowling, and darts. So for Americans we have bowling, and for the UK guys we have darts. Gotta cater to all the audiences. For Finnish guys, I'm going to tell you a secret. In FlatOut 2, we're going to have ski jump. So here we go. So the idea is to actually throw the guy as far as you can. Or actually as high as you can. 78, that's not too good. Oh, poor guy. My record is about 105 meters with this car, so the car actually affects the results. Let's see if I can make it any better. That looks like a good one. Good go. 86. But this is a kind of game because you have people who are in the shops and put this on their hands like, go do it like, what? And then I face it like, and it's an excellent way of making people remember your game. Even though this is not the real game, but this is what people play a lot. IGN.com, which is a huge US-based games website called FlatOut, the best drinking game ever, because of this. And if you have that kind of title, this is the best drinking game ever, you know, great. Somebody's gonna buy a bottle of Budweiser and play the game. Excellent. No, go. Oh well. Crazy stuff. He's Spider-Man. Or he's Spidey. Or Spikey. Alright. I think it's time to move to questions and answers before I run out of my time. So, please, there you go. Yeah. The question was how we got the relationship done with Empire Interactive. Basically, it was a cold call. We sent out the packages, a DVD with the video, the game in a playable form, and a brochure. We had some contacts from our days with Rally Trophy. And so basically, we looked up publishers and we spammed it out. And we called them after and asked, you know, how did you like? We had some contacts, but most of these, for example, Empire, we didn't know from advance. So it was basically we sent them something and called them after. I think, Tim, there was a question there. So how did you end up with the soundtrack? Yeah, that's an interesting question. There are a couple of licensed tracks. For example, the track used in the, I'll show you. The track used with the intro video, that's from Lab, which is a Finnish band. What basically happened is that when we were selling FlatOut, we did a couple of, this is an early version, we did a couple of presentation videos, and Jan, our managing director, who edited these videos, he liked this song, so it was actually in one of these early tracks and it stuck, so we licensed that. For most of these, the 2 other Finnish bands, they just contacted us and said, you know, here's some music, if you like it, use it. So we did, it was Amplifier, and it was full diesel. The rest of the music was actually got from through a competition in the United Kingdom. So there's a music website called overplay.co.uk, which is sort of like Mixer.net in Finland. So we had a competition for unsigned bands to enter their tracks in there. So we got about 150 tracks. We listened to those and selected the ones we liked. And I think for the bands who actually made it to the game, like No Connection, now their music is about in a very many homes. FlatOut has sold altogether about 500,000 copies. So that is a very good publicity for the company, especially as we use their music in the trailers. All right, more questions? I think there was one. Yes. Yes. It came out this month. The question was about the US release. Basically, the story goes that we were all ready for the US release. The game was done. And then Sony came back and said, you know, you need online playing in this. Why? Because we have Xbox Live support, so you should have PS2 online. Now the thing is that we were already pushing the envelope, pushing the limits of PlayStation 2. And then asking for this much more was very hard to do. So that was basically the reason we had to do more for that. And that took us about 3-4 months, which wasn't known at the release party time. And then also because it was a very difficult operation, the publisher decided to play it safe if it takes a little bit longer, so they already scheduled it a little bit later than we estimated we will finish it. So they had some safety margin because it's a really, really risky operation for a finished game to add that much more. Yes?
So then, usually I know you usually do the covers again and everything.
Yes.
This time you also changed the logo a bit.
Yes.
And I think you downplayed the ragdoll or it has lesser part in the marketing materials.
Actually, I'll show you. It actually has a very important role in the marketing. The ragdoll is actually the thing that is sort of a key to the US marketing, and they're really using that to create extent in the marketing. It's a different marketing campaign. It's made for, sorry, I gotta blank the screen so nothing inappropriate shows. It's used in a bit different. That's correct though. Actually, I should have some US marketing stuff here. Let me open that. Okay, so let me see if we can fit it to the page. Okay, this is how prominently they use it. So I would say pretty prominently. Oh, this is a teaser ad in print advertising in the United States, so I would say it's pretty prominent. Actually, probably a bit more than in Europe. I'm gonna just dig up for US marketing, actually a TV advertisement. They're actually playing it as we speak in the United States in channels like MTV. I should have it somewhere. Let's see. No, not here. There we go. This is an early version. Let's see. Okay, this is an early version, so this is not the final one that's actually playing on the TV, so you gotta excuse me for that. I don't have the final one with me. Oops, one time more? No? Like this? There we go. I just love the way QuickTime works. Oh well. Okay, this is a TV spot, an early version of the TV spot that's playing in the United States.
These young people are out for a good time, but mix their good times with muscle cars and reckless driving, and their groovy cruise will become a ride of peril.
It's flat out. Compete in high-speed, full-throttle racing, then hit the destruction derby and trash everything you see, including the driver. In flat out, you also compete in 6 different bonus games. You can throw that little punk out the windshield. Want the most destructive racing game out there? You want flat out. Awesome! Oh! Rated T for team.
There we go. So it's pretty prominently in the marketing. Any more questions? There you go. Can you what? Can you play what? No. Well, you can play it. You can buy it from the store. And you should buy it from the store if you like it. We don't have any pods there. We had last year, but this year we don't have it anywhere here as a playable format. Sorry. I don't know if anybody of you has the game. You can. There's one person that wants to join you for playing it. There's a question there.
Yeah. In what point did V2 just disappear?
Well, I think I have to defer to those guys there, but I think it disappeared about 8 months prior to the release. It's too recognizable, licensed, so we don't have a permission to use any cars in there because car manufacturers, for some strange reason, don't like their cars being demolished. They really don't like it. The only games you can do it is simulators, And now they're shortly accepting it in other games. But it's very, very hard to get that permission. And it costs a lot of money to license cars. So basically, if you want to include cars in your game, there's two options. You license it, you pay the car manufacturers for the permission of using the car and the name, or you make your own cars. And we made our own cars. And Beetle's very recognizable, so we had to scrap it. Other questions? There. FlatOut 2 is going to come out next year. Probably somewhere there. Not in fall, but earlier. It's going to be good. Excellent, almost. It's going to be more in the vein of what FlatOut is. It's not going to be a whole reinvention of FlatOut. So it's going to be basically taking what's good about FlatOut and making it right this time, I would say. There are so many things that we know that we could have done better. So many things we learned in the process of doing this. So much polish that was lacking in FlatOut 1. It's going to be more US focused because that's where the big market is. We're going to see more US locations in there. We're going to see more ragdoll stunts. We're going to see a little bit less ragdoll in the racing because it gets a little bit tiresome. We're going to see more destruction derbies, more varied gameplay, and a host of other improvements. More tracks, more cars, better career mode, perhaps a little bit easier handling, better ways to get nitro, a lot of improvements. But basically, in its heart, it's FlatOut. It's a sequel to FlatOut. It's not going to be Burnout. It's not going to be a Destruction Derby. It's FlatOut 2. And coming out soon to stores near you, and we'll probably start some publicity campaign sometime in a month or two. So you'll see in a little bit. I think first screenshots should appear in about a month or two. That will be our final question. You have the privilege. Very much easier because we didn't know what we were getting into when we did our first console game. It's tough. The whole engine was written for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. Now it's mostly ready, so we're adding to that. So we are not reinventing the whole engine. The people who make the art are now familiar what it's going to look like in there, how it looks like in the final game. We know the restrictions much better. It just makes the whole thing easier. Also, as a company, we are a bit larger now. We're a bit mature. We have invested a lot of time into improving our project management philosophy, improving the ways we work. We have a larger office, so we are not sitting on each other's laps anymore. A lot of things that have happened. Basically, it's more like a company instead of a group of people working on something nice. So I think we matured a little bit within the process. But we're still having a good time, I guess. At least if those guys wake up 10 a.m. in the morning and come listen to me, they are not too bored of me yet, which is good. With that, I thank you, gentlemen, for coming in this early and listening to me. I hope all of you will stay and listen to Joel and Lauri from Frozen Byte, because that's the next big thing coming out from Finland, Shadowgrounds. So you definitely don't go anywhere. More cool stuff will follow. Thank you very much for listening, and look forward to FlatOut 2.